This is Scott Vanderplu, and you're listening to the Artist Edition Index Podcast, episode 86.
I went down to the St. James Infirmary, found my baby there, stretched out on a long white table, so sweet, so cold, so fast.
Thank you for joining me once more on this monthly journey through all things AE at aeindex.org, where we take that written word and bring it to this podcast and discuss the things that have occurred in this past month and maybe add a little bit of info here and there that doesn't appear on the website. Big news this month, of course, is the 2023 Dunbier Awards are wrapping up. I'm recording this on January 31st, so that means this is the absolute last day to vote. Things are a little bit surprising to me in the results so far. I don't want to get into that. Voting ends tonight. And winners are announced February 1st, and then we'll discuss those on the next month's podcast. So I don't want to get into that too much. I do want to mention, though, that we're going to introduce the Hall of Fame to the awards this year. So there's going to be some Hall of Fame inductees that will be part of the winners' announcements tomorrow. So I look forward to that. This first year is pretty straightforward. There was some talk on the forum about how they should be implemented. Maybe should there be a vote? Should there be a committee? And I just realized this first year, I think it's pretty straightforward. I'll just do it myself, and we'll see how that carries on. Up to this point, the website is a one-man band here. And I do appreciate the voting, but I think we will not do that for Hall of Famer for this foreseeable future. I tried to get as much information out there for the Dunbier Awards this time. I know I mentioned on the podcast previously each year, I think, I'm going to send out press releases. I emailed every website I could think of that has covered artist editions in the past, and not a single one posted anything about the awards. Just not a one. The best proponent of the award is, of course, Scott Dunbier. He's the big supporter of the site anyways, and I always appreciate him. And he has posted on Facebook and Twitter several times, so that's wonderful. I think that's driven some votes. So that's exciting news. Well, as I say, we'll talk about the rest of that next month. And, of course, please go to the website February 1st to see the winners. All right. Let's talk shipping changes then. Some sad news. Chris Somney's Black Widow Artist Edition has been moved to May 28th. So the year started with a bang. We had two artist AE format books this year. We had the 2080 Art of Mick McMahon, came out on the 24th, and then on the 31st, we had the Fantagraphic Studio Edition Bill Ward. Now, I've got both books. The Bill Ward one's interesting because it's solicited as Bill Ward the Fantagraphic Studio Edition, but on the Colophon page, it says the Fantagraphic Studio Edition, Bill Ward. So I'm not quite sure why they did that, because the cover and the spine all say Bill Ward Fantagraphic Studio Edition. So that's a bit odd. I'm not quite sure which way to go. I almost always go with the Colophon, but now, that seems to be the odd man out what's in the Colophon. So I'll do the review next month. I've kept a very good schedule, or schedule if you prefer, of reviews, 2 a month, but I feel like I'm falling further and further behind, and which is odd to me since the number of AE format books. We only had 6 last year, so that means I had 24 opportunities for reviews. 1/4 of those were AE format books, the rest were something else, and still my backlog is growing. I actually did 3 reviews this month, which we will discuss later. I had a wonderful book that's not quite an AE format book in that category, and then 2 AE format books, but great stuff. That's the only shipping change I'm aware of. Kevin Eastman's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Layouts Artist Edition. We previously discussed that. It was solicited. It was removed from PRH. Then it's mysteriously come back now with a October 22nd date. So that's nice to see. The Wally Woods EC Stories Artist Edition expanded. It's going to be 2 or 3 new stories. I'm seeing different things there. That was solicited, but no cover image yet, so that's a bit disappointing. Sort of like the Neil Adams DC Classics. At least Penguin didn't have the covers, but we knew what they were from that earlier press release from IDW last year. So yeah, waiting on the Wally Woods EC Stories Artist Edition with new version what the new cover will be. Walt's Comic Shop in Germany used the image of the prelim of the first time. The cover was printed. It's got that orange border, but the prelim had like a baby blue. And I've been seeing that on the internet. People thinking that's the cover. Well, that's the prelim for the first edition. But that'd be a nice nod to the to that original version if they did in fact use that prelim cover. All right, that's changes. Let's talk solicitations. So IDW January 2024 solicitations. 2 new books. Let's talk about the first one. I just talked about the first one, Wally Wood's EC Stories Artist Edition. I'm putting expanded in brackets. But here's the blurb is exactly the same as the other blurb, actually. It's 15 inches by 22 inches, 160 pages, a hardcover. And as I say, it's supposed to be an expanded version of the original book. So right now, 160 pages means that looks like one new story. But I had heard 2, hoping for 3. I guess we'll see. All right, that's that. No cover, as I say. It's too bad. I'm sorry, 7 more pages in the original version. So that's only one story, I think, and one new EC story. Hopefully we see a page pop. Lots of time to go for September. The other book that was solicited that we do have a cover for, Paul Smith's Uncanny X-Men Artist Edition. So that's very exciting. Here's the blurb for that. A veritable cornucopia of classic Paul Smith original X-Men art has been scanned at high resolution in color. Although the art appears to be in black and white, all artist editions are shot in color, so all the subtle nuances are clearly visible to the reader and printed at 100% size as drawn. A massive 12 by 17 inches. The only better way to see Paul Smith's original art would be to hold it in your own hands. IDW, October 8th, 2024, 12 by 17 inches, as it said, 192 pages. It's a hardcover, $150 USD is the solicited price. Let's hope that is a date that doesn't slide. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to the not yet solicited, but discussed Doctor Strange, Paul Smith's Doctor Strange Artist Edition. That's that for me. Great stuff. All right. The other solicitations this month from Diamond. So there were 2 books not falling into the not quite an AE. And the first one is She Number 1 30th Anniversary Original Art Edition, the groundbreaking masterwork that literally changed the face of comics and launched the Bad Girl Revolution. Returns. I don't understand that statement, because wouldn't that be Elektra? Is that not the Bad Girl Revolution? Or all right. In this premium format, 112-page hardcover edition featuring the story of She, never before published, remastered original artwork, and files from the book that started it all, 1994 She, Way of the Warrior number 1. This is from Crusade Entertainment. It's solicited for April 3rd, 2024. It's 8 by 12 inches. It's a hardcover, 112 pages, $64.99 USD. And then the other book that was announced is She Pencils Up Ashcan Edition number 1. The She Number 1 Pencils Up Ashcan Edition features every one of She creator Billy Tucci's never-before-seen original pencils to 1994's She, Way of the Warrior. This is listed for April 24th, 2024. It's 8 by 12 again inches, 32 pages. It's a hardcover, which no, it's not. It's a soft cover. I've made a terrible editing thing there. It's $24.99 USD. So the interesting things about these, the wonderful thing about the web is I can just change that to soft cover, as we discussed here. These were crowdfunded earlier. Interestingly, they were crowdfunded simultaneously on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. I didn't think that was a thing, but I think this was $50 for the hardcover on the platforms and $20 for the pencil soft cover, and now, oh my goodness, and now there's $65 and $25, so that's not too bad. The nice thing is I'm not going to get killed on shipping from the United States via Kickstarter or Indiegogo. I'm going to get this in my local comic shop and get my discount, because I have a discount at my local comic shop, and things will be wonderful. I'm still debating actually whether I get these. I mean, these aren't, I'm thinking the original art edition I'll get. I'm waffling on the pencils. I don't know. They'd be a nice companion for both. That's for sure. We'll see. Those are solicitations. That's it for this month. Pretty light. Let's get into out-of-print sales. Alien, the Illustrated Story, original edition. 2 copies, 160 average. Basil Wolverton's Weird Worlds. 1 copy, $209.99. Batman, The Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller Gallery edition. 2 copies, 165.62 average. 1 copy of Dave Gibbons' Watchmen Artifact for $73.22. 1 copy of Dave Stevens' The Rocketeer Artist Edition First Print, $187.99. 1 copy of David Mazzucchelli's Daredevil Born Again Artist Edition for $325. 1 copy of Don Rose's The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck, $249.99. 1 copy of Fantagraphics Studio Edition Hal Foster's Prince Valiant for $175. 1 copy of the Jaime Hernandez Studio for $175. 1 copy of Frank Cho's Savage Wolverine for $249.99. 1 copy of Frank Miller's Daredevil Artifact Edition, $170. That's interesting because there's the artist edition, which is a reprint of that for $150 cover. So it's interesting. People are so interested in the first printing from 2015. Gil Kane's Amazing Spider-Man, $104.99. 1 copy. 2 copies of Jack Kirby Commandy, The Last Boy on Earth, averaging $152.49. 1 copy of Jack Kirby's Marvel Heroes and Monsters, $199.99. 1 copy of Jack Kirby's The Mighty Thor, $199.99. Seeing a pattern there. Both those books are twice up, 15 by 22, so gorgeous books. 5 copies of Jim Lee DC Legends Artifact Edition, averaging $122.99. Now there's another book that's the I think last month the reprint as an artist edition was just announced. 1 copy of Joe Kubert's Tarzan of the Apes for $99.99. 1 copy of Joe Kubert's The Return of Tarzan for $149.99. 1 copy of John Byrne's Fantastic Four for $249.99. 1 copy of John Byrne's Marvel Classics, $79.99. 1 copy of John Byrne's X-Men, $222.54. So that's come down from its crazy premium because the artist edition, which is a reprint of the Artifact edition, was released as well in December. So, all right. 2 copies of John Romita's Amazing Spider-Man Artist Edition, averaging $177.98. 1 copy of Volume 2 of Romita's Amazing Spider-Man for $160. 2 copies of Mad Artist Edition, averaging $234.25. 1 copy of Marvel Covers, first print, $249.95. 1 copy of Mike Mignola's Hellboy in Hell, first print, $300. 2 copies of Mike Mignola's The Amazing Screw-On Head and Other Curious Objects, averaging $135. 2 copies of RoboCop vs. the Terminator, averaging $169.74. 1 copy of Sergio Aragona's Gru the Wanderer, $179. 2 copies of Spawn Vault Edition, $244.31 average. 1 copies of Vault Edition 2 for $300. 2 copies of Star Wars Artifact Edition, averaging $83.16. 1 copy of Steranko Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., first print, $133.17. Good price there. 1 copy of Terry Moore's Strangers in Paradise, $150. 1 copy of Usagi Yojimbo Samurai and Other Stories, $199. That's a good deal for that book, man. 1 copy of Hollywood's EC Stories Artist Edition, first print, $249.99. 2 copies of Walter Simonson Star Wars, $115 average. 3 copies Walter Simonson Manhunter and Other Stories, averaging $149.99. 2 copies of Walter Simonson's The Mighty Thor Artist Edition, second print, $189.95 average. 1 copy of Will Eisner's A Contract with God Curators Collection, $195.99. And that is the month. That was no record-setting prices. For there were a lot of zeros again in my spreadsheet here. Interestingly, if you ever go on to the site, take a look at the spreadsheet, click on the links to go right to those listings on eBay. Take a look for yourself. Interestingly, no Eisner, no Spirit sales this month, and no John Paul Leon, the Winterman sales this month. Interesting stuff. And no Best of EC, which is those prices have been setting some records as well. So interesting. All right. We got 3 reviews this month, but before I get into reviews, let me do the my sales pitch for this month, and that is how can you support AE Index? 3 ways to support the index. Number 1 way, please go to aeindex.org/store. Take a look at what I have for sale. Please buy some books from me. I've got a Mazzucchelli's Born Again on there. I've got an EC, Best of EC Volume 1 sealed. I've got a lot of good books there. Competitive pricing. I'd love to sell it through the website, but I'm going to have to start listing these on eBay. I think I've said that repeatedly, but I really do need to list these on eBay then if I can't get them through the store. Second way to support me is to use any of the affiliate links. I have affiliate links on the website. Normally I get a percentage of that, and I have added a advertiser actually to the site, and that is Walt's Comic Shop. So First step was Walt's Comic Shop links under Order Online throughout the site, on the reviews, and on the AE format page. Click on that, and so that's nice. Shortly, Walt's Comic Shop will also be on the newsletter. So that's exciting. If things go well, we may see a little more advertising from Walt's Comic Shop on index.org. So I'm excited about that. It's nice to have a sort of an advertiser. Yeah, I have not had an advertiser. I've had, like I said, affiliate links and ads I've put up myself, but this is the first time going that route. So yeah, I never wanted. I don't like animated ads on the site. Animated ad in the newsletter is fine, but not on the site. And then so we'll see what happens with that. And the last way to support me is through Patreon. Now, I've done those in order of preference, honestly. Patreon, I love Patreon. I love Patreon supporters. It starts at $1 or whatever your local currency is, euro, pound. But I feel sometimes I don't give enough to the Patreon patrons. Now, in December, I posted an interview I did with Scott Dunbier. And it's all about process and not really current things, just a lot of questions I had. So if you're interested in hearing that kind of thing, I would sign up for the Patreon and listen to that interview. At first, I had debated with myself about later putting it on the website, but I don't think I'm going to put it up for free. I think I'm going to leave it as a Patreon exclusive, which I think is exciting and a nice reward for Patreon patrons. So we'll see how that goes. All right. 3 reviews this month, as I said. First review, John Romita's The Amazing Spider-Man Daily Strips Artist Edition. Now, this book came out January 2nd, so early, right? And, wow, that means, that is, so 3 books came out in January, and I got another book in January, but that's the next review. All right. Wow. A big stack up of AE format books for January. This seems to have happened a couple years before, but let's get into the blurb for this book. Spider-Man is one of the most popular characters in the history of comics. This artist edition collects high-resolution scans of the very earliest Amazing Spider-Man daily strips by the 2 creators most associated with the web-slinger, Stan the Man Lee and Jaunty John Romita. Approximately 300 original daily strips have been scanned, all from 1977 and 78. The strip debuted on January 3rd, 1977. The entire first 2 months of the strip are included in this volume. Spider-Man's origin, not original, is recapped, and it's a who's who of all your favorite Spidey characters. 19.5 by 15 inches, because it's a strip, so it's horizontal format. It's 176 pages. It's a hardcover, $150 US. Available where all wonderful books are available. So I got a lot of links to that, of course. I hope I've gotten no feedback, but I hope people are enjoying the gallery. The slideshow I'm putting at the front of the review. So that's, if you want to go to the review, and you can look at every image just in a slideshow at the top. If you don't like that kind of thing, you can just scroll through like I always had it and view the images. But I thought I've been putting slideshows as I go. So that's that. This book is awesome. It's just, first off, I love comic strips. That's my outside of AE format books, comic strip collections are the only comics I actually buy and read currently. This book is really great. So yeah, we get the first month, and then we have gaps. Let me tell you right now, there's no Saturdays, there's nothing in color, it's just the dailies, Monday to Friday, and we have a lot of gaps. But the way the newspaper strip worked, it's like 3-4 panels. Generally, there's a recap. You don't miss out on the story here. You pick up right away what's happening from the story. You catch it. You can easily read this book and not miss a beat. If you feel like you want to read the missing stories, there are Library of American Comics has several volumes of the Amazing Spider-Man comic strips. This would be volume 1 that you'd pick up and dive into that if you want to read what's available. Scott Demir has said that he has enough strips to do another book of this if it's successful, so that's exciting. I mean, that would be wonderful to see something else like this. The scans are awesome. I didn't have any issues with the book. I love the material. The strips present so well on this. You get 2 strips to a page. They're large. The artwork really shows well. This is, I mean, I've said before, Romita's not my favorite Spider-Man artist. When I was of my age, I think Ross Andrew was doing Spider-Man when I was collecting comics, and I never really cared for Ross Andrew. So I never bought Spider-Man. I started buying some Spider-Mans right when Todd McFarlane started, so 298. And then I can't say I really ever enjoyed Spider-Man. But for me, the ultimate Spider-Man artist for me is still Ditko. So this is later Romita, right? Out of the 60s, late 70s. This is actually my least favorite look of Spider-Man as far as it goes. But these present so well. They're just timeless. Like, they're just the classic versions of the characters. Done by somebody who really knew, right? I mean, Stan Lee and John Romita really knew this character at this point. And the strips really present well. Very nice. I love the formatting. The Zipatone is always nice. Not a lot of corrections. With some bit of correction fluid here and there, but just a really great presentation. And now the interesting thing here is in the colophon, it mentions a RomitaMan.com variant. So I've been hitting up RomitaMan.com all month, and the book has never been solicited. So I don't know what's going on with that. I've looked for some more information, but I've yet to get any feedback on that. So I can't really say why there's a RomitaMan.com variant listed in the colophon. Maybe it's still coming. I don't know. That seems like an odd delay for a book that was originally scheduled in the fall of 2023 and then got delayed to January of 2024. And this, interesting. All right. Second review this month. Den Edition Brute. So let me give you the blurb. We've obtained the agreement of the rights holders to offer you a raw edition that you can also order during this campaign. In large format, 28 by 37.5 centimeters, this will be a limited edition of 550 copies, offering the most discerning fans the chances to discover the original Den plates in their raw state, with a minimum of apparent restoration and only lettered in French, so they can appreciate Richard Corbin's work at first hand. These plates are mostly in black and white with a limited number and direct color. They will also be printed in full color so that you can appreciate all the subtleties of the author's work and retouching, as well as the textures and materials used. This book will be supplied in an individual protected box, and 500 copies will be offered as part of this campaign. So, the raw edition contains the story of Den Neverwhere, with all the original pages, black and white in colors, artist edition style, with French lettering. We should hopefully receive them in November or December, depending on the printer's availability. This was so obviously this blurb is from Kiss Kiss Bank, which was a French crowdfunding site. I ordered this in the fall. And I received my copy in January, and this is from Delirium. It's so 28 by 37.5 centimeters is 11 by 14 3/4 inches. It's 120 pages. The hardcover. It was 150 euros. You cannot order these anymore. Your best bet is hopefully to get them on eBay. Stuart Ing has said he's going to have some copies available on his website when he gets back from Angoulême. I don't know when that's going to be, but I've got to tell you, I have a somewhat appreciation for Richard Corbin, and then I saw these original pages, and I was floored, speechless. This book is stunning. I cannot believe how gorgeous Corbin's original art pages are. This stuff is just amazing. Like he used a variety of mediums, like whiteout, paint, marker. I mean, it's just... I honestly cannot go over how gorgeous these pages are. And it's actually normally I appreciate a painted page in these books, but the painted pages take a back seat to because these really aren't black and white. They're not just ink and, like I said, they're just, please go to the site, go to my AIndex.org site and take a look at these pages because they just blow me away. Now, there's been talk about, I know Scott Demir had said when Richard Corbin was alive that he wanted to do this, and Corbin said no, he didn't. He didn't feel his work deserved an artist edition, which is insane. But I mean, you want to respect a creator's wishes. Now, Delirium was only able to get this license because the text is done in French, so they did not have a license for an English version. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Dark Horse has, of course, the Richard Corbin library that they're producing. I'm really hoping that Dark Horse we'll be doing some gallery editions of Corbin's art because, first off, I'm thrilled to have this book. French, English, doesn't matter. It is gorgeous. And I really hope if you missed out on this, which most readers did, and this is one of those times when I really wish I'd ordered multiple copies, but it was coming from France. I did not want to order a retailer bundle and then, find out that I'm going to get dinged on shipping or dinged on customs or something. I mean, Canada's so weird sometimes with that kind of thing. But this book needs to be printed again in English. It would be amazing. Or just made available to the North American market, or just more. I know I had heard that they had Delirium had about 100 extra copies that they were going to be selling. I don't see them available yet. I love that it's numbered. Now, the solicitation said 550 and then 500. It is 550. My copy was numbered. I have number 356 of 550, so that's pretty great. They just do it on a stamp. It's a stamp on the box, on the sticker, and on my and in the book itself on the. That's not really on the colophon. It's a numbered page. The colophon is the next page. And the beauty of this campaign is also this came slipcased. The slipcase is really nice. The design is just gorgeous. Yeah, so you got this beautiful slipcase. It's got Dan Corbin's name on it. You pull it out, and the cover is just no text on the cover. I love that French style where they don't put text on the cover. It's on the spine and on the back of the book, but it's just a beautiful imagery. I honestly cannot get over how amazing this book is. So blabbered on about that. All right, third review this month, and this was because I had received the book and had sat on it and not done the review. So Ian Chalgren was kind enough to send me a copy of his The Uncanny Covers Ocular Edition. This was a book that he produced 50 copies of. He used it as I don't know. Let me give you the blurb. This is from Ian Chalgren. I'm pleased to present my second Ocular Edition book. Over 200 pages of original Marvel comic art from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. This book comes in 5 variant cover editions. 10 copies of each edition were printed, so 50 books total. The purpose of this book is to land book design projects with publishers like Abrams, DC, Dark Horse, Fantagraphics, IDW, Image Comics, Marvel, PS Art Books, Taschen, etc. This endeavor has proven successful thanks to Ed and Jim at Cartoonist Kayfabe, dedicating an episode of their show on this book. Watch the video below. At the end of the book is a 20-page bio journey resume of yours truly, Ian Chalgren. You can download a high-resolution PDF the entire book at this link. These books are not for sale. So Ian released this in June 2023. It's 211 pages. It's 8 3/4 inches by 12.5 inches. And it is, I reviewed it, and let me give you this. This is what I said. So, right, this is not your typical review. And like I said, it's a sales tool. It's a tool for him to get jobs, right? And I said, with that as our lens, let's look at this as a personal A format passion project and see what can be accomplished. So I have a really nice Q&A at the bottom. So this is a book printed in North America. He printed it in, I forget what the name of the printer. Interesting. It's in my Q&A. Isn't that terrible? Marathon Press, Norfolk, Nebraska. So he went through, he got scans from Heritage, and he picked the best scans, did some upscaling if he could in Photoshop, put this together in InDesign, and design logos, design fonts, really lay the design element. Just really great items that we haven't, that we'd like to see in Artist Edition A format books, but don't always see that. First thing, right, he's numbered them. So it doesn't matter what your print run is. If your print run is Taschen does a print run of 5,000 and they number them. 5,000 is a big number. But you say, it's a limited edition of 5,000, and you put a number on each book, and suddenly the collector and the person, it pops. And you go, look at this. It's a limited numbered edition. People love that. I love that. I think collectors love that. Here, he's taken advantage of that. He's done that. Smart. Right? He's got a table of contents. He's got page numbers on most pages. And then he's got it organized by artist, which, this doesn't apply to everybody. And it doesn't work well for a lot of things. But for this book, it works great. He's got a mini bio of the, not really a bio, but what the artist meant to him, right? And then he's got a picture of the artist. He's got a picture of the comic. He's got a list of titles that the artist worked on. And that opens each chapter for that artist, which I think is really smart. Like I said, it works with a multi-artist book. If the book was dedicated to one artist, that would not work at all. But here, works great. Most of the art, like I said, I focused on the design because he's a designer. This is a tool to get design jobs. That's the focus. And I really like I like the end papers. He designed he did 5 different editions, each with a different cover and each with a different logo. So I got the Miller Wolverine cover, and he designed the text on the cover to match the logo of the Wolverine. So it's a really nice touch. And then the end papers are really gorgeous, enlargements of art, and then he's done his own coloring depending on how he wanted to fit it in. Really nice. What I wasn't thrilled with, the scan quality varies, right? He's gone to Heritage and he's downloaded pieces. Some pieces present well, some pieces present not so great. And then there's the printing, right? He had to make decisions. How do I print this? Where do I print it? How do I keep costs down? How do I get it so that I can work with it, I can use it? So he picked a North American printer. And there are some printing quality inconsistencies. The cover is a bit odd. I actually include a picture of the cover. It doesn't line up properly. Whatever material the boards in the hardcover are covered in, it's a bit bubbly at the spine after you've and the binding is very tight. I was stretching that out and trying to get it going, but I just couldn't actually quite get it to release enough for what I would like to see, which is to almost lay flat. I talk about this in almost every review, right? I want a book that mostly going to lay flat. Well, that wasn't possible here. But as I said, the focus of this book was design, and I think that it really killed it on the design. I had some nitpicks in the review, but please go on the site, aeindex.org, take a look at the review. Great stuff. Oh, the other nice thing, table of contents. He's got it's organized by artist, but then he's got the title of the comic. He's got the page number. He's got the issue of that comic. Then he's got the inker for that page. And then he's got the year it was produced. I love those details. Very nice. Really great job. Ian does have, he's doing the Conan Colossal edition. He's designing that for the Pug. We've talked about that in previous podcasts, and it was listed on the website. I should mention that this is the most bizarre thing ever. So that, the campaign was done, and then suddenly the book was available again from Zoop for another 2 weeks. Like it's actually still available right now. So if you did not get a copy of the Conan Colossal edition, go on to zoop.gg and have a look and order yourself a copy. I'm not quite sure what's happening there, because I feel, is that just delaying me getting the copies I ordered earlier? Or we'll see how that plays out. All right. That's it for me this month. A lot of babbling. So thanks for sticking in with me here. Look forward for some reviews next month. I'm going to have the 2080 art of Mick McMahon. I'm going to have the Bill Ward Fantagraphic Studio Edition. We're going to talk about the Tumblr Awards. Lots of good things coming up on the site and the podcast next month. And, of course, weekly flip-throughs. I'm going to have to see about the Bill Ward flip-through. I tried to do a flip-through today video, and it's so glossy that it was just glare on every page. I moved around the room trying to get a different lighting source, so I think what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to try and get it with... I have a front window. I'm going to have to try and get the sunlight, noon sun, but not directly. No other lights in the room, and hopefully the camera can pick it up and I can get a flip-through video of that. So, all right, thanks. And like I said, everything's at aeindex.org. If you have any questions for me, please email me, scott@aeindex.org. And we'll talk to you next month.
Let her go, God bless her. Wherever she may be, she can search this wide world over. She'll never find a sweet man like me.